Grant your blessings so that my mind may be one with the Dharma. Grant your blessings so that Dharma may progress along the path. Grant your blessings so that the path may clarify confusion. Grant your blessings so that confusion may dawn as wisdom. Taviv odidar sasopleth bin brita odzaka gimi kalzo sobahathrian luiahiod ekrin madkaon. As the second and the third. Wherefore hearken unto my voice. I have talked of you, and I move you in power and presence, whose works shall be a song of honor and the praise of God in your creation. Welcome to Skeptics UAP News. We are bringing breaking news to the YouTube community here. The whistleblower Matthew Brown invokes the Enochian angels. That is an incredible statement to make associated with UAP Disclosure. It is breaking a silence I've had about UAP Disclosure since my last episode, episode 5, about Mishlev and Bigelow, where I received a lot of comments from some of my listeners about the new path forward. And seeing the response of the UAP community and seeing that synchronistically the name of Galethog is associated with now Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Matthew Brown, that's Nancy Mace. These are all big names associated with the Immaculate Constellation document. So that is why I am breaking my kind of silence. It's not really a silence. I moved off grid, and so we're connecting through strange internet. You notice there's some stuff with my green screen, etc., etc. Please be mindful. I am presenting on some kind of a haphazard situation right now, just to get this news out because it's fascinating. So let's dive into the presentation. Matthew Brown, Galethog, an Enochian magic in UAP Disclosure whistleblowing. Really, that's amazing. It really, whatever the interpretation of whatever this is, really demonstrates the validity of my hypothesis as I put forward in the Book of Galactic Light, looking for the precedence of UAP Disclosure in the historic life and times of Dr. John Dee. Now, I'm saying a lot of these words. And it's probably hard to follow if you don't know UAP Disclosure, whistleblowing, Enochian magic, and this presentation is all sort of unpacking one strange cryptic tweet. And we'll get into it. So if you have any questions, you can email me, daniel@dseti.org. You can write a comment. You can like and subscribe. I respond to most of my comments. It may take me 3 to 6 weeks, but usually I try to do it much sooner. So please do. Let's get into the presentation. What's going on here? All right, so I wanted to sort of contextualize what was going on. UAP Disclosure. You probably are pretty familiar with this article. It is the 2017 New York Times article by Helene Cooper, Ralph Blumenthal, and Leslie Kean. It is famous. It's what kicked off UAP Disclosure. UAP Disclosure is all about UFOs, UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, unidentified flying objects. These are alien spaceships, or so we were led to believe by these people who I am now saying are not truthful in a way that we would simply call truthful. So they seem to me to have a complex order or understanding of truth as to what actually a UFO is, what a UAP is, and what is even going on. And this tweet really reveals a lot of that complexity of truth. So you need to be familiar with this article, 2017 New York Times article. It's famous. Look it up if you don't know it. Let's keep going. So that kicked off a kind of trend of whistleblowing. This is testimonials. So these are testimonials about UFOs coming out into the public record. This is sort of like how Christians, born again Christians, go up in front of church and testify to the reality of their salvation. We have now Department of Defense officials, and they have impressive resumes, and they go up in front of Congress and they swear on a Bible that there are space aliens, and there are nuts and bolts craft, and there are alien biologics. And you probably should be afraid of the implants and the abductions and the hybridizations, but we're not going to talk about that because the mainstream doesn't find that acceptable. So we're only going to push through the nuts and bolts aspect of it. And then secretly reveal that they're all into some crazy remote viewing put forward by, I don't know, Hal Puthoff and the Scientology crew last century. So it's all a little complex. And I'm showing this other article. It shows a little bit of a dissent from the New York Times. Ralph Blumenthal, Leslie Kean put forward David Grush in the debrief article, now famous, 2023. Grush has not offered evidence besides some vague connections with a crackpot scientist named Eric Davis. That's what skeptical media calls him. We'll say something different here at Sun, because Sun is Skeptics UAP news. UAPs are a little bit different than UFOs, and this is a little bit different than your normal skeptical presentation, let's say. All right, so long story short, fast forward to this year. This is the congressional website, congress.gov. It shows unidentified anomalous phenomena exposing the truth. This is a record of a meeting in which a document, the Immaculate Constellation document, was presented under some controversy with Nancy Mace and Jeremy Corbell and Michael Schellenberger and all of these content creators. There's a lot of content creators there. And so they were creating content, and this is part of it. And some of their content got into the congressional record, and I go, wow, that's amazing. And now it's being associated with the Enochian angels, so let's dive in. All right, what's going on here? So this is it. We got to go to like 2357. Let me see if I can pull that up. I believe it's there. This is footage.
Has this document, and we just distribute it to every member up here on the dais of this document. See, even its budget is kept from the public. So if there is no there, then why are we spending money on it, and by how much? Why the secrecy if it's really no big deal and there's nothing there? Why hide it from the Americans?
Sorry, she was talking about UFO disclosure stuff. Here, this should be when the document's presented.
My closing statement is there is a document
Yep.
that will be entered into the congressional record today. Mr. Tim Burchett from Tennessee has this document, and we just distribute it to every member up here on the dais of this document. But this is going to be the original document from the Pentagon about Immaculate Constellation that Michael Schellenberger delivered to Congress today. So thank you, Mr. Schellenberger, for this information. We are all reading it in real time now, and Mr. Burchett will enter it into the record. But 12 pages about this unacknowledged special access program that your government says does not exist.
Ooh, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's a lot of drama around a document, 12 pages. There's a lot of misinformation going on around it. Michael Schellenberg didn't present it. Jeremy Corbell did for some dramatic reason. So check this out. Here's a tweet, the 12-page document from Nancy Mace's whatever account, Instagram or Twitter, that looks like Instagram. This is now an X post from Christopher Sharp. He's reposting something from Jesse Michaels, who's reposting Jeremy Corbell. Now, if you want to see a pyramid scheme, a cult scheme, whatever, you just look at this tweet. That's what it points out. It's a hierarchy. It's a hierarchy of a secret society, let's say. And that sounds crazy to me, but some people are initiated, some people aren't. Jesse Michaels is a little bit more initiated because he chooses to interview all of these people in Masonic sets, right? In Masonic temples for some strange reason, right? So it's connecting in thematically now to these cryptic tweets. And so we have the greatest question in my mind is, are these people being legitimate or not? Does Jeremy Corbell actually believe pyramids are, there's space aliens and pyramids flying around, or the Mojave Triangle or whatever, or is he doing something else? Because the jellyfish UAP is clearly just a balloon. So what is going on? What is actually going on? And this reveals a little bit as to what is going on, because I don't know, maybe Matthew Brown went off the rails. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I just am sort of fed up with the information profiteers like Jesse Michaels, right? Doing his interviews in Masonic temples and not being forthcoming that this is actually ceremonial magic bullshit from LARPers instead of actual truth about space aliens and nuts and bolts craft. This is about remote viewing, psionics, ceremonial magic, esoteric stuff, and it's not about space aliens who would kidnap your bodies at night. Period. That's what this tweet reveals. That's what all this themology of angels and demons is revealing. These people are practicing ceremonial magic for some purpose that is not clear. The reason why I have been very clear about why I practice ceremonial magic is because I can expose this bullshit. Anyways, I get fired up about it. And the reason why I get fired up about it, and the reason why I can get fired up about it, is because I speak with those angels. So now let's move forward. We are looking at the Immaculate Constellation document, right? So I'll read a little bit about this. This was submitted. This is on the Congressional website. This document is the result of a multi-year internal investigation into the subjects of UAP, technologies of unknown origin, and non-human intelligence. Investigation was undertaken in response to urgent and credible threats to the public good and safety mechanisms. And I really have a hard time reading all this BS, to be honest, because I don't know who constructed it. And I don't know why they constructed it. And when information comes out, this is like strange stuff afterwards, right? So let's actually keep going, because I'm going to center myself again, because I'm a little worked up about this stuff. So that's the document. Now, we didn't know who was the author of this document until this interview with Matthew Brown, Jeremy Corbell, and George Knapp. At this point, if anyone is talking to these people and they are interviewing those people, you have to make the assumption they are initiated into a complex way of knowing about UAPs. So it's a complex way of knowing. The truths they share are actual truths, but they have a greater context that is not revealed. And that's a problematic thing. And I want to expose that greater context because you have the power to discern the truth in these situations and step outside of this sort of UAP disclosure drip feed thing that's going on. So Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, you should know those names by now. They are guys that have sat behind David Grush in the congressional hearings. They are central to the drama, to the ritual, to the ceremony of whatever this complex way of knowing is doing in Congress. So I'm speaking about it because it's actually, there is reality here. What they're doing is actually real. It produces actually real effects. That is the real effects of ceremonial magic. That's what's happening here. It's not the real effects of space aliens visiting us on this planet. It's the real effects of ceremonial magic on our political and religious history. And that is measurable, it's demonstrable. You can do literature reviews on it, you can do scholarly reviews on it. I'm going to talk to some scholars about Enochian magic this summer. They are actual scholars. They aren't do-it-yourself researchers. They have positions in universities, or they have PhDs, and they are scholars of Enochian magic, and they can interpret this sort of stuff. Anyways, let's keep going. I wanted to just give a summary of what Matthew Brown is. This interview from News Nation, right? News Nation is probably it's a news channel, allegedly. I've only seen it really talk about UFO stuff in the last 2 years. I suspect it's owned by a conglomerate somewhat associated with Las Vegas, to be honest. And there's reasons for that. And let's just listen to what they have to say.
We live in the Matrix. It's just much more boring than the movie.
That's the whistleblower.
The whistleblower who says he stumbled upon a top-secret UFO program collecting UFO images and videos from classified military servers is revealing some of what he saw for the very first time. In an interview with investigative journalist Jeremy Corbell on his Weaponized podcast, former U.S. National Security official Matthew Brown describes but does not provide several videos that he says
we live in the Matrix.
Sorry.
Flying between the clouds and appeared startled.
Okay, I just wanted to show that, I mean, if you're familiar with UAP Disclosure, you know News Nation, you know they repeat footage from Jeremy Corbell that's been clearly debunked, right? Clearly debunked. So there's issues there. There's like, what's going on here? What's going on? And they're revealing this Immaculate Constellation stuff. All right, let's keep going. So why should you or I care about Corbell, Knapp, and UAP Disclosure, given their track record of truth? Their track record is not great. I'm happy to provide evidence for that claim. I'm happy to do that. You can ask me about it. I don't maintain a list of that. I'm not interested in investigating that per se. I have investigated enough sightings that they say are sightings to go, these are clearly constructed events. So I care because of Signs and Wonders from Galethog the Grey, my non-human intelligence guide that I write about. One of them is in the last month, I've had the words Telvovevachim, which is an Enochian word, and you should know about Enochian if you're going to explore this tweet. Telvovevachim means of him that is fallen, and this is a phrase that comes from the etheric calls. And I've also had the phrase autophagy, and I don't know what that is. And then I saw this, and I go, oh my God, that's why the angels have been whispering these words in my ear. Telvovevachim, autophagy. That's what's happening here. That's what the angels are telling me is happening here. Telvovevachim, autophagy. Of him that is fallen. And then autophagy means self-devouring. The natural conserved degradation of the cell that removes unnecessary or dysfunctional components through a lysome-dependent regulated mechanism. So something's being repurposed here, and I think that's very interesting. That's what the Signs and Wonders tell me. There's more signs and wonders, synchronicities. So yesterday was one of the first days I connected back to the whatever's going on with UAP Disclosure. I've been in the woods building a cabin that's off-grid. My internet's really disconnected. I've been disconnected from my emails, and I've slowly been getting back into it. I've really appreciated people reaching out and the patience that they have in terms of my responses. But I'm a follower of the Vetted podcast, who does bombshell. He makes these clips of podcasts, and they're all bombshells. Everything's a bombshell. But he had this bombshell video about Matthew Brown's tweet yesterday or 2 days ago, which is nuts. It's responding to political drama. I don't want to get into that political drama. I just really care about ethics in working with this magical system. That's it. That's what I'm bound to do. I'm not bound to do politics. I don't want to do politics. I will not do politics. And I will sort of be agnostic around the politics, primarily because I feel it's more important to elevate the ethics regarding harmful false memories and suggestibility in states of contact than actually who's in power or not. So if we can change the public's mind about these things, to educate the public in an apolitical way about sleep paralysis, about Western esotericism, then the public could interpret these things much better and participate in this complex way of knowing. That's all I'm after, is us participating in this complex way of knowing in an authentic, clear way and not a manipulated way. So in the video, I saw Galethog's name in the tweet, and I went to write a comment about, oh, there's Galethog. I realized it was 444 and there were 333 comments on the video. And wow, these numbers sort of cue me off. There's a synchronicity going to happen. Then 2 hummingbirds swooped at my face. I was sitting next to a hummingbird feeder, but that's a rare thing to happen in those moments of cascade. So I said, this is really important. So I had a dream last night. I said, I'm going to do a presentation on this tomorrow. If I have a dream. And I had a dream, and the dream involved the angels working with me to build a bridge for our society. It's sort of like taking a step onto a cliff. Like, the image is sort of like, I don't know, Cinderella or Snow White. There's these birds that come and sew her dresses and help her do things. And that was the sort of thing. We have a bridge being constructed by the angels, who are not angels per se, who are not space aliens, who are sort of an intelligence inlaid within the humanity of these geometric and complex mathematical political expressions, let's say, aka egregores. So those were my synchronicities. Those were the signs and wonders that tell me to take this path. So I have some candid disclosures. I am self-initiated into the magical systems I discuss. I am the voice of the mage of the shattered mirror. I'm a priest of Asclepius. I am a prophet of New Babylon. But these are self-given magical appellations. I have not been initiated into the Golden Dawn. I don't understand Enochian as expressed in many of these systems. And many people who have claimed to be the magical heirs of John Dee have claimed that they have secret knowledge about how to interpret these codes. And I have not listened to any of them and have initiated or used my own discernment to have contact with these angels that have been demonstrable. It produces electromagnetic effects that I have 30 days of videos of you can go through on this YouTube channel. So I practice what I preach and I prove what I claim. So there you go. I'm skeptical of this tweet. If his account is authentic, then the tweet means something significant for disclosure. If it is not authentic, it also means something significant. Right? The first question I have is the SunOfAbramelin the Twitter account under which this alleged tweet from Matthew Brown comes up, is that actually his account? I don't know. It was created in May of 2025, so I don't really have strong faith in it. It is sending off cryptic tweets that remind me of QAnon stuff, and so I'm skeptical about it. It's associated with some fishy antics surrounding the submission of a 12-page document that was 11 pages in the congressional record with a blank 12th document, which was then called out by a clique of content creators, a known clique of content creators who are fascinated with esoteric magic. I say this is a LARP. I say this is a LARP that made its way all the way to Congress and have duped a lot of people. And yet, even if it were a LARP, the angels have power and reality that are acting through those who have been confused by their nature. And so they have requested a sense of clarity to emerge. So, this UAP disclosure season, since 2017 onwards, is most likely a melodrama associated with ceremonial magic and not truly about aliens and spaceships. That is the most unfortunate thing for me. I know there's a true phenomena of entity encounters at night. I know that that leads to anomalous physical effects, perhaps like teleportation and orb manifestation. And yet I know that these are likely not about physical flesh and blood, nuts and bolts, aliens and spacecraft, not about the biologics. And so I feel a little kind of betrayed by the whole disclosure movement, even though it inspired me to look into Enochian magic, even though I found reality there. I don't appreciate the manipulation associated with it. So this is the tweet we're talking about. This is the tweet we're talking about. Let's just take this in Matthew. He's got a blue check mark on Twitter, X, which means he pays $9 a month or something like that. SunOfAbramelin. Abramelin is a figure associated with Kabbalah, esotericism, etc., etc. You should know this if you're into occult circles. I know this because people who know about Enochian tell me about Abramelin, and that's why I know about it. It's really a cryptic tweet. There's a quote, what looks like from the Immaculate Constellation document, an upside down U.S. flag, image of Trump saying promises made, promises kept, and a image of the Sigillum de Ameth, or a little bit, the ring of letters around that, and the word Galethog going into Logoth, which is not how you pronounce it, but that's how I remember to pronounce it. So there you go. Is a direct reference. The third image here is a direct reference to Galethog, is a direct reference to Enochian magic. And this is emerging as a tweet to Elon Musk, the White House, and a bunch of people. It seems like whoever wrote this, I don't know if it's Matthew Brown. I don't know. There's a few things to deduce about it. I am interested in 2 of the 4 images. I am not interested in speaking on politics regarding Trump or the United States. I live in Canada. I have been apolitical before Trump. I am going to continue to be apolitical during that experience. And I'm very clear about that. We are talking about esoteric things in esoteric ways in accordance with principles as set forth by the Enochian angels, as revealed to me through a long study of Enochian, its connection with UAP disclosure. All right, so this is part of the long study, Galethog the Gray's Field Guide to Anomalous Geometry. This is why I'm concerned, because I had experiences with Enochian magic. It connected me with an intelligence I deem called Galethog. I don't know why. It associated its name in the same way that I got guidance to put this video forward after a month or 2 of not doing anything through cryptic messages, signs and wonders, and a couple of weird dreams, right? So that's what I got going with Galethog, but it reveals a lot to me. I am a practitioner of Enochian magic. I am speaking at the 2nd annual Enochiacon in Vancouver on the subject of the connection of UAPs and Enochian. I spoke on that last year. I'll probably talk about this tweet and see, because it really demonstrates the hypothesis I'm talking about here. So this is the image we're talking about. This is a third image in 4 images associated with Matthew Brown's cryptic tweet to Elon Musk, associated with all the drama going on there. But what does Galethog have to do with all of that drama? What does it have to do? What is this image? Why is it so cryptic? How do we read this image? Well, let me tell you how to read this image, right? You have to know a few things. You have to know who John D is. You have to know what the Sigillum de Ameth is. You have to know about the angel names on the Sigillum de Ameth. You have to know about gematria. You have to know about angel communications through crystal gazing in the 1500s, right? But those things are all really well known from a collection of people, esoteric magicians, and likely intelligence community people, because in the 16th century, the British Empire was founded by people influenced by this magical system. That's Queen Elizabeth. Those are the voyagers of discovery, right, to the New World. They were informed by Dr. John Dee, who is why we're talking about Galethog, Logoth, and this cryptic ring of letters, right? Like, what is this? What is this, right? Galethog, this refers to the sigillum de Ameth, which is here. This comes from, I believe this is a, I don't know which ones come from. It comes from Dee's hand, or a copy of Dee's hand through Ashmole or whatever. I don't know. But you would need to know that, right? Because you would need to know about John Dee's marginalia in like the Sloan manuscripts or whatever, right? In the manuscripts held by the British Museum, this is very, very. You look at this, you go, oh, okay, he's referencing something. We'd look this up in a manuscript that with Dee's own hand, and you would go through a kind of interpretive system. Lon Milo Duquette wrote really well about how to decode the angel names through the sigillum de Ameth. There is a magical blind there. You have to know about it, blah, blah, blah. But whatever. I thought I had a reference to Terry Burns and Alan Moore's paper about sequencing the perimeters of the Holy Table and how it refers to the magical blinds in the sigillum de Ameth, which would be one of the places I would start to interpret this. This sort of looks like a very, very simple transposition of Galethog to Logoth. It's really just going, hey, there's something weird happening with whatever is going on with arrows and the hashtags or whatever. But this is part of sequencing angel names. This is showing you a pattern. It's an algorithm, a back and forth. It's like you start on a perimeter of the sigillum de Ameth, which is the circle, is which is the magical sigil from which this ring of letters and numbers come from. You go through a process of going left to right, a number of sequences. It spells out a certain number of names and things like that. And that could be like a cipher key or something like that. If you want to go there, this would be a place you would look for that cipher key. There's a lot of cryptic stuff in Matthew Brown's tweets, capitalized letters, acronyms, weird names, associations, and things like that. That style of the cryptography is very familiar. The writing is very familiar. Read through Dee's preface to Euclid, his dedication to the Monas Hieroglyphica, to the Heptarchia, the book about the Heptarchia, how he introduces stuff. You'll see how he encodes meaning. Terry Burns has a great series about how meaning is encoded in the Monas Hieroglyphica. I would start there. Once again, start with the scholars in this field who are clearly talking about it, not selling some magical BS, right? That is, I'd turn to Terry Burns' work to help interpret this right now. Sigillum de Ameth. All right. Nothing new under the sun. The question for me is about whether or not we want to interpret it. We'll get back to that. This is actually a segment. Sun, Skeptics UAP News. The live stream is a kind of a news program. It's a liturgy. It is a process. And we have a segment called Nothing New Under the Sun. It's in honor of this guy named Philip Klass. It's in honor of this guy named Philip Klass, who was a skeptic about UFOs in the 90s. He wrote this, the Skeptics UAP, Skeptics UFO newsletter. And so in the 90s, he wrote all about the content creators in the UFO field. And I just really want to share with you some of this stuff because it's important to know that there is nothing new under the sun. People have been doing this before. It goes back to the 1600s at least. In November 1990, Philip Klass was writing about hoaxes related to Ed Walters' Gulf Breeze UFO photos, which were likely plastic plates or whatever glued together, thrown in the air and photographed. And there's a lot of rigmarole around those hoaxes. You can see here MUFON was talking about it. There's Maccabee is involved, who was important in funding a lot of UFO research. Bruce Maccabee here endorsed the case. There's all this sort of illumination of complex claims and contextualization through money and content creation and popularity and stuff like that. So there's not much I really want to get into except for just bringing awareness to Sun, the Skeptics UFO newsletter, and the fact that this sort of congressional kind of scientific rigmarole has really been going on for decades. This is nothing new under the sun. Sun is a liturgy delivered by me, Daniel Rekshan, a priest of high strangeness. Yes, it's a liturgy. We use the ecclesiastical language of Enochian here in this liturgy, and I've been using it since well before May of 2025, when Matthew Brown started the SunOfAbramelin Twitter account. This name is inspired by this article, The Priests of High Strangeness by Carol Rainey, who revealed a number of ethical concerns related to the big three alien abduction researchers. That's Bud Hopkins, author of Missing Time. That's David Jacobs, author of The Secret Life. That's John E. Mack, author of Abduction and Passport to the Cosmos. And if you're in academic circles nowadays, you probably know a lot about John Mack. And you probably know, if you're into UAP Disclosure, who this fellow is, Robert Bigelow. He is the funder of Unusual Personal Experiences and the documentation or definition of the UFO abduction syndrome. And now there's me, a priest of high strangeness. These are all priests of high strangeness. This guy, I think, is a pope or a bishop or something like that. And I'm sort of let's say a Protestant in relation to the orthodoxy. Sun Skeptics UAP News is a practice of Enochian magic. You might have wondered what the funny phrases I was chanting beforehand. There's a Buddhist chant that sets this within the context of Mahayana practice. Mahayana practice. That means I'm generating mindfulness and clarity of mind to reduce my own suffering for the benefit of others and to help other people reduce their own sufferings if I can eventually. I'm trying my best. You see the strange script, then there's a transliteration and then a translation. We've got like dar, sar, sopleth, wherefore hearken unto my voice. And these come from kind of a magical language. These are the calls of the aether. This is sort of in magical workings associated with Enochian. This is very, very complex. You have to actually be initiated into these systems somehow. The initiation can be about 7 years of bashing your head against books and strange experiences, which is my initiation, or you could pay someone, I guess, to take you through it. So, Something Yet Remains is a segment of UAP, Skeptics UAP News, that's set in honor of Thomas Bullard, who was a folklorist. This guy, Thomas Bullard, author of The Myth and Mystery of UFOs and the UFO Abductions Measure of a Myth. He is literally why we think UFO abductions are common, and there are commonalities among the abductions. He's the reason. He put forward all the arguments that the big three talked about. He was the literary reason why, because he collected about 280 accounts from a variety of sources and summarized it through a painstaking process in the 1980s about UFO abduction. And so Something Yet Remains was a chapter title in this book. And it says, hey, even if you reduce everything to known causes or whatever, as much as you can, there's something yet remains to be explained in this phenomena. So I bring this up because something yet remains, even when I say, hey, all of this UFO disclosure stuff, because of this one tweet, depending on what's going on, is probably melodrama related to esoteric magic, Western esoteric magic. And I say that, but what actually remains? There's something that remains in there. I go, the entity encounters, the non-human intelligence, the psionics, the UAP sightings, all real, all remain yet to be explained, right? There's something that's actually happening, right? It involves something more like remote viewing and less like nuts and bolts manifestations of these things, less like alien biologics, X-File style, and more like quantum healing, hypnosis, channeling, whatever, psionics, shamanism. So that remains. So what remains for me is the analogy between alien crop circles and the UFO disclosure. This has been a theme of mine that has been triggering to me and other people for about a couple of years. But the hypothesis here is that alien crop circles are actually made by humans, and they are casting a magical circle in fields of food. This is literally what looks to the non-human intelligences, the Fae, the Buddhist deities that help practice in Vajrayana. It looks like an offering. It looks like an invitation. It looks like an invocation. And so they show up as balls of light, as paranormality, as poltergeists, right? Humans invoked them. Humans probably are them in different states of consciousness. And the mechanism of their manifestation is the actual casting of circles in the wheat fields, let's say. So there's a thing that's fake that is actually real. And that's really hard to talk about it. There's a little documentary 2 years ago came out, Circle Makers, that he's like there's actually paranormal things happening in fake alien crop circles, right? And so I say there's actually real things, space poltergeists and whatever, remote viewing, psionics happening in UFO abduction and UAP disclosure narratives. Something actually real is happening, but it's not the thing that it appears to be at first. It's related to it, but so the analogy really deepens for me. What remains is the power of Enochian magic to worm its way into politics around UAPs. Now, this is sort of uncanny, given how many magical systems there are, how it keeps showing up associated with space exploration and empire has yet to be explained. Now, the entire UAP disclosure context must be reinterpreted given this context. Right? A congressional, because if there is a true association between this account, SunOfAbramelin, and the authorship of this document, it means that the esoteric Enochian practitioner who informed that tweet has managed to achieve such control over the disclosure narrative that their document is actually submitted to the congressional record. And now there is something associated with it, right? So that means Corbell, Knapp, Brown, all of those people involved in that drama are now sort of contextualized as initiates or novices in a pyramidical, hierarchical, cultish, ceremonial, magical coven or something like that. Magicians are strange folks. I'm a strange folk too. So, they really could have architected this series of narratives over decades, right? That is not uncommon. That wouldn't be unheard of. It's within the realm of normal human behavior to architect stuff this fast. And having the connection of Enochian in association with this document, if SunOfAbramelin is actually the Matthew Brown's verified account that is the actual author of these documents, you go, wow, that's amazing. If not, I'm like, wow, whoever is pulling the strings in this media content clique, which is powerful enough to do that. I go, well, what about all the other documents? There's probably no clear evidence for aliens and spaceships. Don't be afraid of space aliens coming to steal your body. There's other things going on. There's entity encounters. There's other things. There's anomalous physical effects that manifest there. But you have some level of control over that, like you have over your nightmares. You might feel trapped by your nightmares, but science says you can do cognitive behavior therapies, you can do mindfulness, you can do lucid dreaming to shift your nightmares. So if you can do that, you can shift your alien abduction experiences. And that's why I get so worked up, because if we keep up this false narrative of associating alien abduction with UFOs and sleep paralysis, because this coven of ceremonial magicians wants to make a profit, then that's problematic. So it is probably angel and demon play by religious mathematical savants associated with the intelligence community who have encountered work derived from Mac or influenced by Bigelow. That's my conclusion. I still say it's interesting. I still say it's worth going in. I still say it's worth exploring and investigating. And I think that's fascinating. I'm fascinated by it. So I have some deductions. If SunOfAbramelin is Brown's own account, then it is likely that the entire clique surrounding Congressional Disclosure has been guided by Enochian practitioners since its inception. If SunOfAbramelin is not Brown's account, then the entire UAP Disclosure community needs to learn to vet their sources before jumping into a fad. And so I would like to offer clarity on both of those points. I'm fascinated by this. I don't particularly want to go through the ciphers. I want to verify who this person is and the authenticity of that account before dedicating more hours of my life to whatever is the time suck in UAP disclosure. So here we've got this interesting Twitter post by Jeremy Corbell, who reposts what's his name? Matthew Brown's thing. He says, I'm looking forward to discussing this and a F-ton more on next episode of Weaponized with George Knapp. Have a great weekend. And he retweets SunOfAbramelin. So then I go, well, it's probably the same guy. I don't know. That's just sort of where I'm at. So in either case, powerful people are playing a dangerous game. You need to become aware of the dangers of Enochian magic. Generally, it's around sanity and not actual demon possession. And so that's the thing to be mindful of. Enochian is powerful in and of itself. It is cryptic and will destroy your mind if you think you can figure it out. That's just where we're at. So the connection in such a strange tweet associated with such strange antics with this document suggests some highly strange ritual. Whoever architected this situation is doing a ritual. And so this has been a presentation of D-SETI. And we're all about looking to dreams to offer clarity and insight regarding the UFO, non-human intelligence contact experience. If you're interested, you can get in touch with me, Daniel, at dseti.org. So I'm just going to reflect a little bit about this journey. I know that the internet has not been good on this live stream. I know that it's probably choppy. I know it's another technically challenged live stream, and that's okay. Because I just wanted to get this information out, to talk about it, to kind of recontextualize this. I am interested in Galethog. Galethog told me to do this. That's why I'm doing this. Galethog, through the hummingbirds, through the synchronicities, through the dreams, and through a still small voice in my ear, said that his name was invoked by these people. And there is a power in me through the rituals I have done, through the initiation I have experienced and documented and published on this YouTube channel. I am seen by the other side as holding authorities associated with these rituals. And the commitment I have is to the unfolding of unity consciousness. So that's the integration of light and dark, of truth and falsehood, for the benefit of humanity, according to the principle of non-harm. that's my commitment here. And I feel as if the movements I see in the UAP disclosure narratives, especially the rituals, are actually well-intended, let's say, toward the inspiration of curiosity, of magical developments, of yearning to go to the stars. So I don't find fault there, and I don't necessarily even find fault or issue with kind of melodramatic LARPing. I have issues when it veers towards suggestion that could imply harmful false memories of alien mythologies. I will speak out for interpretation of hypnotic and trance testimonies. And I believe that there is a way forward with the magical practitioners who are associated with this clique of UAP disclosure, people who legitimately believe in UAP disclosure, and society in general, to really move forward and activate our connections with what is called non-human intelligences. So I think it would be much more beneficial to reveal how human those intelligences are and how we can relate to them. But that's just my personal opinion. And so I am trying to find a way and am called to speak about these things in a way that doesn't step on toes. So I'm being clear about that, right? There's a protocol and etiquette, a sort of situation of speaking about these things, and I'm intending to stay on this line, on the safe line of things, to not transgress those lines. I'm allowed to do so because I'm self-initiated in these systems, and that the angels speak to me just as I speak to them. I have ears to hear and eyes to see. And I'm speaking in such a way for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. And being clear that you don't need those ears and eyes to find truth or insight about your own UAP or entity encounter experiences, that this path of magicality likely is not necessarily your path to understanding or insight. And it's likely a path to a complex way of knowing that's more or less equivalent to remote viewing and produces as much evidence as that. So I would see that our society integrate these powers and skills of ceremonial magic in a clearer, direct way. But I'm happy to see actually that this material is coming to light. One of the things Galethog explained to me is there's no such thing necessarily as a true or false representation of Galethog. that the intelligence resides in the experience of people working with Enochian, with the geometry itself. And that is a strange way. It suggests it's something like a consciousness, something like resulting of a mycelial network. What is that consciousness? We don't really know. It can act, it can behave, it can take action. It does not relate to us in the same way as a human might in human persona. And so Galethog is sort of like that. That's one of the reasons why Galethog insisted I name it Galethog the Grey, but also publish my book and its character under a Creative Commons license. So that's all in my book. If you're interested in that, go to Galethog the Grey's Field Guide to Anomalous Geometry. It's on Amazon. It's on D-SETI.org. And if you want a free copy, just email me or find it on the website. So once again, thanks for being here. Thanks for exploring the connection of Enochian magic and UAP disclosure. I am interested to see how this unfolds. And I really do appreciate the intervention of the angels, right? Ultimately, whether or not this is true or false, there is a reality that's unfolding, and the drama is revealing of that reality. And that's where I would point my attention, not whether or not who is saying the truth or falsehood, because the phenomena reveals the phenomena. It's a self-revealing thing, sort of like an autophagy, I guess, is a self-devouring system. There's a self-revelation to these things. And so I'm participating in that just as many other people are. And I don't think there's a clear view as to where we're going quite yet. And so that's all I'm going to say. If you want to decode the cryptic message, let me know how it goes, right? I might look into it, I might not. It seems like an invitation from the world to look into this stuff. I mean, Galethog is quite known in esoteric circles, but I've been paying attention to UAP circles, and I haven't seen Enochian or such a direct connection to Enochian or Galethog. And so part of me goes, the only published literature about Galethog, I'm the author of the only literature about the connection of Enochian magic and UAPs in the last 5-10 years. I mean, there's some esoteric stuff. There's actually a lot going on, and yet it's not necessarily fully discussed in the UAP disclosure community as expressed now. I mean, like I said, nothing new under the sun. There was a cohort of people just like us 15 years ago, so they probably discussed it. So I'm just curious why Galethog? What's going on there? Galethog knows, but he speaks to me through hummingbirds and dreams and still small voices. That may just be my own mind. And that is the final reflection I would leave with you, is just as I have my own mind, so too does humanity. It's a collective unconscious, a collective situation. And so there may be echoes within the collective unconscious that have become sentient. It's not artificial intelligence. It's certainly not. But it behaves as such to those who perhaps are unaware of the deeper idealist nature of our reality. And there you go. Not much else to say. And so with that, I'll say thank you for being here. And we'll move into the Buddhist dedication of merit next, because I'm holding this within a Buddhist practice. By this merit may all obtain omniscience, may defeat the enemy of wrongdoing, from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. Suples bien brita ozakam gimical zosoba hoastrian luie ot ekrin mad koan. Wherefore hearken unto my voice. I have talked of you, and I move you.